Kickin' with Kailah on HB Radio.
What's going on, everybody? I'd like to welcome you back to Kicking It with Mikey. We made a little switch this week because the guest that we have today is a huge part of my childhood.
It just didn't feel right for me to be in the captain's seat for this one because Mikey loves Patrick Renna so much, loves the Sandlot.
I didn't even say who it was first.
They saw the flyer, I'm sure. That's why they're listening.
No. So anyway, our guest is Patrick Renna.
From the Sandlot.
He plays the great Hambino from the Sandlot. He was the catcher, the heavyset guy with the freckles that everybody just loved, the trash talker.
He coined the term, "You're killing me, Smalls," so
Yes.
you all probably know. I bet some of you even own shirts with his face on it.
Yes, Sev 1 has him tattooed on his arm.
Oh.
I know. Yeah, but our Sev 1 has this guy tattooed on his arm. That's how important this man was for our childhood. And talking to him today is going to be the coolest experience I've had in a long time.
We should call Sev 1 right now and tell him that we're about to talk to him.
We should just get Sev on the phone. I don't know how we would do that if we can call him, but that would be sick. But yeah, I think that was. I think it's going to be awesome hearing from him because this guy he's a huge part. How many times have you seen a Sandlot besides this morning?
I think I watched it growing up probably, 3-4 times. I don't remember, but I'm happy that we rewatched it this morning because it made me realize how good the movie is.
Yeah.
I don't even think I texted one time through that whole movie.
I know, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, because I love it. I loved it so much.
Yeah, so we have a whole bunch of questions for him that we're going to ask. We have a couple fan questions we're going to try and get through, and we're going to pick his brain. We're going to pick his Sandlot brain and see what's actually going on.
He's got other stuff going on too, which we'll get into. I know that he just did a new show. He had a role on
the show Glow, the wrestling show on Netflix.
So we have a bunch of stuff to talk about, and I think we should just get right into it.
I think he's calling him right now. So we have a special guest on the phone right now. One of my favorite people from a movie growing up, Patrick Renna, on the phone. What's going on, Patrick?
How are you?
We're good.
I'm out here in sunny California, and I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
We're good. So typically this show is called Kicking It with Kailah, but I'm actually running the show today because I know way more about you than she does.
We watched The Sandlot this morning just to kind of get a refresher on everything, and he was all excited about interviewing you. So I'm like, how about you take the captain's seat today?
I had to.
That's nice of you.
So a little icebreaker we do. We kind of like the base it around the 90s era. We do a thing called From the Ground Up, and we ask some icebreaker questions. So I'm going to start with one. From the ground up, Patrick, who is your favorite 90s crush?
90s crush?
Oh
my God. I mean, there's so many.
And you can't say Wendy Peppercorn.
No, go on. That was Squints' crush. I'm not going to take
True.
lady. No. I mean, there's been so many. I think just watch Baywatch from that time, or 90210, or Melrose Place, and pretty much all of them. I'm feeling like a little Yasmin Bleeth.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. A little different. I like that.
I think that was like one of my biggest crushes back then.
That's awesome. Kailah, you have one?
What was your favorite 90s movie?
Oh, wait. I don't think I can say the one that I wanted to say because I think it's 80s. 90s movie. Oh my gosh. Was License to Drive 90s?
Well, what, license to drive. I think it might have been, actually.
1988. That's close.
Close enough.
Close enough.
That works.
That earned it.
Yeah.
So we just like to do a couple questions just to rack your brain randomly. But
I know, you're packing.
Yeah.
I was going to see The Goonies because The Goonies was fully my Sandlot. So.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
Love The Goonies.
Yeah.
And The Goonies still holds weight today with all the movies. So does The Sandlot.
Same
We
with
actually
The
watched that
Sandlot.
this morning.
I
so.
forgot how good The Sandlot was until we watched it today, and I'm like, damn, this movie's so good.
It holds up, right?
Yeah.
It does, 100%. I mean, it's funny.
Really holds.
Especially now, this day and age, when they're doing things like Stranger Things, where it's almost set back when, like in the 80s time anyways, you know? Like, they're almost copying what you guys did back then, and it's still so good.
Well, we were just talking about it on my podcast. There is a full pool scene. It's reversed from Stranger Things 3.
Yes.
The pool Wendy, but then it's the pool scene with I can't say the guy's name. Dacker.
Yeah, I know you're talking about, but it had to have been inspired.
Really handsome dude with the six pack and the rock hard abs.
I know
It was
exactly
definitely
what you're talking
inspired by that, for sure.
Yeah.
Stranger Things is cool, for sure. I want to get into one thing. So before we get into all the other stuff, obviously the Sandlot, I want to know how this happened for you. What was how did you go? The audition process, like where did this begin?
Yeah, I'm from Boston originally, and I lived there in my early teens. And when I right around when I did the movie at 13, I moved out to LA with my mom. And we just kind of, her and I against the world out here. And it was basically the first audition. It just came up. They had already cast all the other guys. And the person they had in mind for Ham had fallen off or switched roles, because there were a few role switches also.
Okay.
So then I went, so there were some switches with the casting, and I went and I met the director because... which doesn't really happen on a first call, it doesn't happen that way. But because it was so time sensitive, I went in straight to him. And, it was funny. There were some lines from the Honeymooners that were in the audition that, Jackie Gleason, and I think he used to say that to the Moon Alice. I think that was Jackie Gleason, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that I had to go in and call a guy out at the plate, and you're out of here to the Moon, Alice. And so that was the audition I did, and it never made it in the movie. But the director loved it, and he said, "Come meet the guys tomorrow. That'll be your callback, but you don't have the role, so don't think that you have the role."
So you had to meet the rest of the cast.
Yeah, and he said, the cast members were called my family and my parents, and said he has to get along with them. Like, the director loved him, but if he doesn't get along, he's out.
Yeah.
So it was a different kind of callback. So I went and met him, and I think we just threw a ball around and played a little baseball. And I was bigger than all of them, so I pulled them all aside and said, "Look, you mother, you tell them I'm really nice."
You tell them I'm really nice.
But I did really, I did get along with him really well, and we were fast friends, and it turned into brothers. And
yeah, I wanted to ask, was the chemistry as real as it translated in the movie between you guys?
100%.
That's awesome. Yeah, you guys seemed like you were close.
The great thing too is we all have different personalities, and they all mixed really well, and we were like brothers. I mean, of course we fought and had all the normal things, but we were best buds. And I didn't see a lot of them until the 25th anniversary.
Oh my gosh!
I did just see the video. That was awesome to see. I thought that was great because it was my childhood.
You guys hadn't linked up before then?
Well, some of them, like Squints and I, were good buds over the years, and we saw each other. Our families were friends, and so there were a couple of them that I saw, but I hadn't seen Smalls in 25 years.
Oh my God!
Wow, he lives in New Jersey, right?
Seen a bunch of them. Yeah, he's free. Yeah, because if they were on the East Coast or in Philly or Florida or whatever, I wouldn't see them. So it was a great reunion, and since then we've all been in touch again, and it's been really cool. And it is it was a great reunion to see all those guys.
That's so cool.
I met Marty York one time here in Las Vegas, and I didn't believe him when he told me. He's like, I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. Okay.
Well, I understand why you don't believe him.
I thought he was a pro wrestler. I'm like, what do you mean you're yeah?
He's about 200 pounds heavier in all the right ways.
No, it's crazy. Were you always a baseball fan before this, or did this kind of start your baseball fandom?
No, I was always a fan. I mean, you grow up in Boston, you're definitely a Red Sox fan.
True.
And then living in LA through my teens, you're Dodgered out everywhere you go. So I loved growing up watching baseball and playing baseball. That was my sport that I played, because I'm 5'9", 5'0" like Rudy. So that's the sport for me. You know?
Was catcher always your position? Was that the one?
No, and I still, I don't think people understand how hard catcher is.
Yeah.
I had a really tough time with it because, number one, late 50s, early 60s catcher gear was not very protective. So it was a little terrifying, and it's a hard position to stay there while a batter swings and still catch. It's tough. So I actually always played second base or left field.
Absolutely.
I played catcher a couple of times growing up, and even with the gear these days, it is super uncomfortable, and my knees would be killing me afterwards. And I can only imagine during production, it's like a lot of hurry up and wait, and you're probably in that position for a really long time for scenes. That's miserable.
Yep. You got it. It is kind of miserable,
So you're a Dodgers fan and a Red Sox fan, or now?
I mean, I'm definitely a Boston fan first and foremost, but I always say I'm not an LA hater. I am not one of those guys that I don't like to live in a city and not at least root for the sports teams. Now, if Boston is playing LA, I got to go with my hometown, but
right.
I always enjoy, because, you got to show respect to the city you live in. That's my deal.
Of course.
I have a question. Actually, it was Mikey's question, but now it's my question because now I'm curious.
Let's do it.
So in that scene where you were the catcher and you were kind of taunting the batter, was that all set up already, or was that kind of improv?
Well, it was all improv.
Yes, that makes it so
funny.
much better.
But it was different improv than you might think. I improv some of it, but that scene we filmed one take, and the director just rolled the camera. Now, this is when film was filmed, so This was not a cheap shot for the director to do this. So he rolled it. He was in the dugout of, on the other side of the field, and he had a bullhorn, and he just started yelling insults at me to say. So he would say, like, "Is that your sister out there in left field? She's naked." And then he'd say, "Okay, say it." And, I'm 13 with another guy, cameras are rolling, so I start cracking up. And then I get, come on, Pat, say it. And I'm like, wait, it's funny. What do you want from me? So then I compose myself and say, "Is that your sister out there?" And then, there are some reactions, like when I go, come on, I'm just trying to have a little friendly conversation. I think that was probably improv by me. And so it's a little combination of the director and I, riffing off one another and having a good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you seem quick on your feet. You seem quicker on your feet than a lot of the other casts. It seemed like everything that came out of your mouth was just like snapback worthy, like very quick. So I love that.
That's the East Coast in me.
Yes,
yeah, for sure.
I love that. There's one scene from the movie that I'm sure it's probably been answered a million times, but what was the throw up that you guys throw up? Because that was an insane scene.
Yeah.
You just had all kinds of stuff all over you guys.
Well, the chaw was beef jerky and licorice, which is terrible.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, because I hate licorice so much. So that was gross. And then the throw up was split pea soup. Probably with like chunks of other things in there.
Oh
man.
But that makes sense. Split pea soup does look like puke.
Yeah.
It worked great, and it was awful, and we had it dumped all over us, and it was terrible.
Oh man, that's great. I want to shift gears a little bit away from the Sandlot. I just saw you guys. You were just in the show Glow. We watched a little bit of that. I'm a huge WWE fan. I love it. Kailah loves it too. How did that happen? And are you actually a pro wrestling fan?
Absolutely, yeah. I love pro wrestling. I love the talent that is needed to do it and the acting chops that are needed, because it's a duo that, I mean, I guess Muhammad Ali really had that too, though, didn't he? So,
yeah.
But it's something great because it's really a performance, and I love it. And I just, the role came out and it was a fun role, and it worked out for me, and I had a lot of fun filming it. One of the girls on there who plays Melrose, I grew up with, and I've known Jesse Tone for a long time, so it was cool too, because it was me, and it's an all women cast, and so that's a little intimidating because you're like, I hope I fit in. I hope they like me. Like, this is their, and they were the nicest group of ladies I've ever met. Number one, I'm pretty sure they all loved Sandlot. So the day
who doesn't? Come on.
But that was really, you never know. But so the day I came on, they all were so excited for me to be there, and I was a huge fan from season 1, so I was completely starstruck with all of them, and it actually was one of the best filming experiences I've ever had. And then having Jackie sort of give me, bring me into the inner circle a little bit. It was amazing. I didn't do a lot of work with Allison Brie until the last day, and then even she was like, came running up, gave me a giant hug, and said, "Thank you so much for doing my show." Or not even my show, she said our show. And you're just literally dealing with the most humble ladies out there, and they're so hysterical and talented. So
yeah, and that show is doing really well right now. I feel like all of these the women empowering shows and stuff like that are going. They're just doing great. Kailah's actually friends with Hulk Hogan's daughter, Brooke Hogan, and she's the one that told you about the show. Remember?
Yeah, she had like a really small role, I think, on season 1, and she told me how good it was and to watch it. So. Shout out to Brooke Hogan.
I haven't caught up on season 3 yet, but it's the great thing about those shows too is you can watch them in a weekend because it's 8 episodes, 30 minutes long, and it's like a long movie.
That's the best kind of show. We just watched something else that was a 30-minute long episode, and I'm like, I feel like every show should be like this. It's brief. You don't feel like you're sitting there forever. It doesn't drag on, and you can kind of just breeze through them. I love that.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, you watch it in a weekend. It's like 2 movies.
Exactly.
Saturday, Sunday night.
Yeah. Who's your most favorite wrestler?
Probably Hulk Hogan.
Ooh.
That was the guy. Just because I used to be, when I was into wrestling, it was that era, like Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, those guys. So
Have you seen the Andre the Giant documentary?
Great.
No, I haven't, but The Rock's dad is in it or something, right?
Yes.
It's so good. You have to check it out.
You have to watch that. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, put that on your list for sure.
Yeah, the Hulkster, man. That was a good era. I think I was a Shawn Michaels fan growing up. Shawn Michaels and the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh yeah, well, they're all great, and then it's great to see them have like careers afterwards too.
Yeah. I mean, The Rock is killing it.
Oh, I mean, he's like the biggest in the world.
We just heard the other day that he bought Voss water, which is crazy.
Yeah, I heard that too.
He just bought water companies now.
Wild.
Like, what is going on?
Tequila and water.
I know, my 2 favorite things.
I know. Stay hydrated and safe.
That's how you keep the figure right there. That's how The Rock stays.
That's it.
Exactly.
You don't add any sugar to those drinks.
Yep.
So you're a dad now. We saw that online.
Yeah.
How's life? How's life been?
Oh, it's good. He's almost 2.5 now, and it's starting to get fun for me. In the beginning, he's all about mom, and dads are worthless. We're absolutely worthless.
Oh, that's kind of sad.
Are you getting much sleep?
It's sad but true. But now, like I build things. Like his grandfather bought him a wagon, and this morning he started screaming, "Dad, Dad, Dad, wagon, wagon, wagon." So I had to build it for him and take him on a wagon ride. But so it's that's a fun age, the 2s, and I'm looking forward to the rest of it. But it's been an amazing experience, and my wife and I gotta get going because I'm an only child. I have
so am I.
To be an only child, so.
I'm an only child also, so I feel you on that.
Oh, yeah,
do you have any trees in your backyard to make a cool tree house like you had on Sandlot?
I have tons of trees, but I don't know. I don't have one of those trees.
Not a good enough tree.
Wait, actually, I read a cool story about that tree. Was that tree not actually there or something? They moved it?
Yeah, it was a fake tree. Fake leaves and everything.
What?
And it's funny. I actually was in Salt Lake City on a layover a couple days ago, and I had like a couple hours to kill, and I was with my wife, our son, and both his grandmothers. So we went there, and they actually have the lot somewhat preserved. It's overgrown, but I went into the backyard of someone's house. I knocked on the door, and they let me in and took a photo of him. but where I'm standing is basically where that treehouse was.
Oh wow,
man.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That would have been crazy for the person you knock on the door and hey, I was in the Sandlot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because I started explaining and she was a little standoffish, like, who is this weirdo? And I was like, so 25 years ago they filmed the movie, and then she realized about 20 seconds in, and she was like, oh, and then got excited. And so I took a photo with her kids. And
That's awesome.
That's so awesome.
But it took her a minute.
Yeah, so that was all filmed in Salt Lake City.
Did she know that she had that in her backyard? Is that like a known thing around there?
That's what I was just about to ask.
Everyone else, all the other people do know, but it's a shared backyard of like 6 houses. So she doesn't have that backyard though. Hers is where Mr. Myrtle and the treehouse was.
Oh, okay.
So she didn't really know.
Oh, wow.
Unless I was one lot too far, which is possible, but I feel like you can see it on my Instagram, but there's a little fence and it's overgrown for the rest of it. So I think that was the actual Sandlot, and that's where I was standing.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And they built those 2 houses. They were fake houses. They were fake trees, the whole thing.
All right, so speaking of Mr. Myrtle, I have to ask, was the beast as scary as he seemed?
No, not really. No, the beast was 3 dogs, actually. They had the female who was the more, I mean, I say petite, they were still huge, massive dogs, but she was the smallest of them and was the quickest. So that was like the dog that they used for all the race scenes and the chase scenes when you had to have the dog running. And then there was like the show version of all 3, which was sort of the best, looking for what they wanted, or the scariest looking. Because the female was the prettiest dog for sure. But so they had like the show one that would just kind of sit there and be normal, and then they had the huge one that was like the really scary version. And they had 3 because they would get so tuckered out. They were such big dogs that they would get too tired, so they would have to rotate them.
Yeah, they're like, bring my stuntman in.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Before we wrap it up, I know we have a couple fan questions if you want to bring them up. We had
they're in your phone.
I put a little tweet out, and a good amount of people hit us up with some cool questions.
Like, so many people hit us up about it.
So, I mean, people love you.
Well, thank you. I love people.
I'm a man of the people.
I'm a man, that's right.
Oh, someone asked about the chew that you had before, but you already told us that.
All right, that's a good one, yeah.
Did they already know how to play baseball, or were they taught? I know you said that about yourself, but did all the other boys already know how to play baseball really well, or?
Not really. But Mike Vitar, who played Benny, was by far the best out of all of us. He went on to play like high school ball.
He seemed like an athlete.
Yeah, and I think he even could have gotten a scholarship to a college, but he chose to be a firefighter. He just wanted to become a real American hero.
That would, I mean.
I got that.
That's true.
Mike Vitar basically rode off into the sunset,
Yeah.
That would have been crazy if he would have ended up being like an actual baseball player in real life. I don't know, that would have been so weird.
It's been nuts.
Yeah.
Would have been so cool.
But so he was really good. And then the rest of the guys, there were a couple that really had never played, but I won't throw them under the bus.
All right.
The rest, played some. They played a bit, I know Tom Guyree, who played small, he played enough that they had a hard time teaching him to throw bad. Like it took, because he had to look like a terrible player, so he actually had a bit of a hard time going with it.
This isn't a fan question, but I saw you took a picture with some people, or like a fan that was wearing your face on his shirt, the "You're Killing Me" Small shirt. Does that happen to you all the time, and you're just kind of like, that's me? I feel like that'd be so weird to see people walking around with your face like that.
I guess it is a little weird. It is somewhat frequent now.
It's pretty popular.
Used to it. Yeah, it's kind of become a little fun shirt. So it's funny. I think it doesn't get old. Like I get I get a rise out of it every time I see it. It's fun,
That's awesome.
I think if I saw you on the streets, the first thing I would say is, "You're killing me."
Oh,
Smalls.
I'm sure it's annoying to you.
It has to be
Yeah.
annoying by now.
I definitely have gotten that a time or two.
Wait, are you actually Kevin Durant? Am I talking to Kevin Durant? Because you are his Twitter.
Yes, you are. That is me.
I knew it this whole time.
He's had me as his Twitter avatar for years, and I've never gotten to meet him.
What? You got to set that up.
Oh my God, that has to be set up.
But you know why you can't is because you are Kevin Durant.
Yeah, you actually are Kevin
Yeah,
Durant.
exactly.
You can't meet yourself.
Yeah, that's not possible.
It's true. It's true.
One more question, and then
Yeah, we'll take one more. This one is my favorite. They asked, if you could edit one scene from the movie, what would you change?
I would. I mean, oof.
Oh,
Wow.
that's a tough one.
I'll tell you a fun story that answers that in the reverse.
Okay.
That. Originally, the scene where I have the big yelling match with Philip at our field, and then we set the date to go play them at their field. Butt sniffer.
Yeah.
That scene was originally written for Benny. And that morning, I got a knock on the trailer, and it was one of the production assistants. She said the director didn't even come to my trailer to tell me. He just, someone came and said, he wants you to do this scene, learn the line, he'll see you out on the field. And it was a ton of lines, and I read it, and it was hysterical. I think what happened was Benny had become sort of this hero.
Right.
And he didn't want his hero to do the trash talking, and I had sort of fit in well with, the trash talking.
Right.
You were just so good at it.
Yeah, and he's like, Cam could do this. So it was great. So that's one that I am glad switched.
That's awesome.
I guess it's hard to say I would want to change anything because people love it so much. So
Yeah, it's a classic.
For sure.
The easy low-hanging fruit is I would love to get the lifeguard, but
Coming at Squints.
right?
Oh my God. Well, that's awesome. I'm happy you were able to call in.
Thank you so much.
What's next for Patrick
Yeah.
Renna? What's going on? Do you have anything coming up?
Yeah, I'm doing this podcast. Of course, it's called You're Killing Me. I had to roll with that.
Well, next time we're in LA, we're doing your podcast.
Heck yeah.
I would love to have you guys on. Yeah, you can. We do it we do one a week, and we have a lot of fun. And instead of fighting You're Killing Me, I rolled with it, so called the podcast You're Killing Me.
Love it.
That's awesome.
I do it with two of my oldest buddies that I've known for 20 years, and we have a good time. And then, they say this new show's coming out kind of like Cobra Kai, so for the Sandlot, so I'll probably be working on that when it comes out. And I'm developing a show with a writer partner of mine, just sort of loosely based on me and fatherhood.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
A
So
change
it
of
should
pace.
Exactly. So yeah, that's kind of what I got going on these days.
That's awesome. Well, I'm happy you were able to call in. Follow him on Instagram. I think Instagram and Twitter are both Patrick Renna, at Patrick Renna.
Yeah.
Cool.
I got him.
And his podcast.
And your podcast is You're Killing Me. You're Killing Me Pod.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for calling in. And yeah, man.
We're excited to see all the stuff you have coming up.
For sure.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me. And when you're in LA, definitely hit me up.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm on the show. It'd be great.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you.
guys.
Bye.
All right, I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
I mean, to me,
How do you feel?
I think that was part of my childhood. You see, I'm appreciative of meeting my childhood heroes. Unfortunately, she isn't.
What are you talking about?
Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, well, it's not my fault that they suck.
I know. So I met that. I mean, I didn't get to meet him, and hopefully I do eventually and get a cool picture with him. But that was the equivalent of meeting like one of my childhood heroes. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Because I watched The Sandlot probably 1,000 times in my life.
Yeah.
1,000. It was The Sandlot, Little Giants, and Little Rascals. That was my 3 movies. That's what I watched.
Yeah.
So it was like you're Mean Girls, except she really was a mean girl.
Yeah, she was. No, that was really sick. I'm happy that we were able to get him to call in.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of people are gonna like this this interview.
Oh heck yeah! I mean, because it's a classic.
It
like
is.
I can't think of one person that would be like, oh, The Sandlot, don't like that movie.
Yeah.
That
would be weird. I can't be
excuse
friends
me?
with that person.
Yeah, no, that's never been said before. Never will be said.
Nope.
It's one of all-time best movies, classic. So
I thought
cool.
he was so cool. Like he thoroughly enjoyed talking. Like he answered all the questions, and he was
sick.
good. So yeah.
Well,
Hope you guys enjoyed it. This edition
episode of Kicking It with Mikey.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed this episode of Kicking It with Mikey. I had to do reverse roles for this one because I knew all the right questions to ask.
Shut up.
No, this is my podcast. This is my radio show on this one. So you gotta. But I do want to check out his podcast. I want to hear what he's talking about.
I'm definitely gonna download it right when we leave here.
For sure. All right. Well, I think we finished now 40 episodes of this show. So
thank you so much. We're not on 40 yet. We're probably on
No, I'm kidding.
I don't know.
Awesome. Peace.
Peace.